Here we have another example of insecure, nice guys being the most dangerous men on the planet. Remember this guy who pew-pewed his girlfriend in the bathroom? He's getting out of jail, 7 years that's plenty. 7 years is too much for a white man to have to serve for taking a woman's life. God, I have so much to say about this. And I may do 2 parts on it because this is, oh God. I want to cover their relationship, but I also want to cover the theatrics of this man in court. To me, this case is so cut and dry. It's so obvious. Any woman who's ever dated an insecure, angry man that everyone thinks is a nice guy does not fall for this crap. So this story between Oscar Pistorius, I think is how you say it, and Riva Steenkamp, their relationship, so many of the issues I talk about is in this. And it even includes racism, particularly anti-blackness, because this dude tried to get off by unaliving her on a ghost burglar. And this man is in South Africa. All of this is coded language. He literally tried to use the threat of a black man breaking in, because we know that's who he's talking about. We know that, right? We know that, right? We know South Africa. We know apartheid. Come on. Anyway, he tried to use racism to get off being like, I was trying to protect her. Does this sound familiar? So much of the violence against Black Americans, especially in the South, was to protect white women. And white women were complicit in this. White women lied about SA. White women, we have been liars and Karens since forever. But this man knew exactly what he was doing by saying he was trying to protect his girlfriend, when really this man was a nightmare, and we're going to go into it. And she was hiding in the bathroom from him. She was scared of him. There's text saying she was scared of this man. And he almost convinced people that, I was just afraid of some phantom man. Racism. One of the many texts that she had sent him was saying, I'm scared of you sometimes and how you snap at me and how you will react to me. Even in the case, Oscar said that he felt vulnerable of this alleged attacker who he thought was hiding in the bathroom. He even used his disability to play into that vulnerability. And when you actually read what he did in that room, how he went to here and there, he's moving a fan, he's doing sliding up, he did all this stuff. And then all of a sudden claims he was vulnerable, It's all BS. You read oh God. Oscar used the white woman tactic so hard here. Oh, I felt scared. I felt threatened for my life. And again, we know he's implying a black man. There is no doubt about that. None. And his vulnerability is what made him shoot his partner 4 times while she was hiding in the bathroom, a locked bathroom door. Why is she locking the bathroom door? Why is she in there with her phone, locking the bathroom door? Cowering behind the toilet. They even said that the bullet wounds were like somebody who was not just hanging out on the toilet or hiding. They were cowering. Anyway, there's so much to this case. I don't have time to go into all of it. One of the reasons why he was eventually convicted of unaliving, not just whatever the other stuff he was trying to get lesser charges for, is because they had a ton of evidence. They had texts from the girlfriend that ended up dead. She was scared of him. There's tons of texts about that. There's also his ex. Y'all, there's a pattern here. So she read that her life was hell. And she was afraid that he was going to unalive her too, because he had all these pew-pews and explosive anger. She said he was angry and possessive. She had one incident that she said that she hid his pew-pew when he was in a fit of rage. She said he left her with bruises and scars. He'd pinch her, bit her. Y'all, if you follow any of my content and some of my mutuals who talk a lot about this and red flag, biting and pinching is oftentimes where it starts. One of my mutuals, I'm going to tag her. She's actually the one who made me realize this. She talks about this a lot. Pinching, it starts small sometimes and then it escalates. He would also leave her trapped at home. He was out saying he would just be an hour or so and ended up out all day. I wouldn't hear from him all night and his phone would be off. Then he'd come back at 3 a.m. And also this man sounds like he had a serious addiction. Sounds like he was an alcoholic, which is another reason why I talk a lot about, again, I have plenty of empathy for addicts. As someone who has fought my own addiction myself, I understand how powerless you feel and how sick you are. But I also have been on the receiving end of lots of violence from other addicts, especially men. And if they are active in any addiction, I strongly advise you not be with them. It will ruin you financially. They will oftentimes get more violent. They will get DUIs and all kinds of things that end up having an impact on you. I lived in constant fear my ex was going to get a DUI, and then I'd have to drive him around all the time like a soccer mom. That happened to one of my closest friends. Her fiance got a DUI while she was away on vacation, because they love to act up while you're gone to punish you so that you don't ever leave them again alone, by the way. And then she had to drive him everywhere when she came home. And then he spent a fortune on driving places and then getting his car towed because he was afraid of driving home and getting... God, I'm telling y'all, don't enable these men in their addiction. If they have an alcohol or drug problem or gambling problem or porn addiction, please do not deal with them. They're not going to get help as long as they have a woman who will date them, take care of them, and clean up the mess after them. Because that's exactly what you're going to end up doing, whether you want to or not. This is a big one right here. Please pay attention to this one. She said how he once left her paralyzed with fear when he used his beloved Porsche as a weapon, driving her up to 200 miles per hour to punish her. Y'all, one of the ways my ex almost unalived me was almost driving over a cliff with me. These men don't care about life. They don't care about anything. And a lot of men will take you down when they unalive themselves. A lot of times, if they're going to unalive, they're going to threaten to unalive themselves all the time. And they're usually not going to do it. They're literally controlling you and manipulating you and using your empathy and your fear and you centering them and your fear of what's going to happen to them, because that's what you end up doing, especially when you're chronically codependent. They're going to play on that, so you stay. But even if they do ever take themselves out, they're going to bring you down with them. And I cannot tell you how much men use their vehicles to punish women, to scare the crap out of women. That actually was a big red flag when I was dating, especially if a man did it on purpose as a way to, get you to shut up or whatever, or get revenge. I want to clarify that this doesn't mean that every man who can drive, like get angry when he's driving, is an abuser. But what I am saying is that if it is always timely and it is intentional, then he is. I'm not excusing men being reckless in cars, by the way. It's one of my biggest pet peeves, and I can make a whole video on that. If they are doing this to intentionally scare you, that is coercive control. That is abuse. Please understand that's what that is. By the way, his ex, here's another one. These men are all the same, I swear. When he was 23 when he met her. She was 16. They started dating a year later when she was 17. Predatory men love teenagers. Another time they got in a fight because he accused her of sticking up for one of her ex-boyfriends. And that's actually the time she ended up going and hiding his pew-pew. These men love accusing you of cheating when they're usually the ones cheating, by the way. They love bringing up your exes. My ex, I made the mistake of letting him listen to my podcast and coming to my show where I talk a lot about my former hookups and that's what I've been doing for a long time. He's talking about my life and my schmeg's life. He used that information to get back at me. I went on family vacation. The whole time he tortured me, being like, I know what you're really doing on family vacation. I know what you do on family vacation. Because I had told a story on a podcast about hooking up with dudes on vacation. That was like my favorite time to hook up, was when I was on vacation. These men will take mental notes, everything you tell them, and then throw it back in your face and be like, cheater, you're a cheater. He also talked about a time, again, this man was a huge drinker. He moved all the couches and set the floor on fire and danced around it. And then he slipped and chipped his tooth. And because he was so drunk, he thought I'd beaten him up and started screaming at me. Like, he thought she gave him this. Ugh. That's when he started looking for his pew-pew and started saying all this nonsense. So this guy also would vanish for nights of boozing and partying and chatting up other women, because they're almost always cheating, y'all. But when they were apart for longer periods, like when he was, competing and stuff like that, his jealousy erupted. Look at that. He'd phone my mom and dad 10 times a day to find out where I was. In 1 month, I received around 700 calls. It was excessive. If I didn't reply within 30 seconds, I was doing something wrong. God, y'all, these men, they punish you if you don't respond immediately. I would respond in the middle of workouts at gym to avoid his anger. Like and comment for part 2.